Welcome back to 1010's podcast. My name is Michael with Adam and Robbie, and we're going to jump into it immediately because we have Brock Yates Jr. on the phone with us today. How are you, Brock?
I'm good, thank you.
Brock is joining us via Skype. So Brock, you don't know this, but we've moved into a new YouTube format for our show. It's still available basically anywhere that you can get podcasts, but we'll be using the same YouTube format this week, and Robbie will kind of be pulling some things up as we talk about it. Obviously, we've got the One Lap of America site up at the moment, which is something we want to talk about pretty extensively because you carry the torch for One Lap of America each and every year now.
Well, when my father started getting sick, I had to take it over because I couldn't imagine not doing One Lap. I mean, I've been doing it for 35 years, and all these people are friends, and everybody, it's kind of like a reunion every year. And it's a reunion that allows new people to come, which is kind of fun. So we have a lot of fun, a lot of good friends, a lot of fast cars, and it's a good week.
So your dad, Brock Yates, obviously, he started One Lap in 1984, 85, somewhere in that time frame, 84. And that was a response to basically Cannonball and that era coming to a close, correct?
It was. The Cannonballs were starting to get out of hand. He figured he was going to actually, he was worried about killing somebody. And insurance was getting harder to get. And he decided to have a little family-friendlier event. Of course, the first one turned out to be a 4-stage Cannonball, but we all had some.
So what did the first one look like compared to what it looks like today?
Well, the first one, we left Darien, Connecticut, and on a giant platform surrounded by thousands of people and Jello wrestling and DJs and all kinds of weirdness. And we were handed a series of instructions. The first page of the instructions said, go to Boston, turn left, go to Seattle, turn left, go to San Diego, turn left, go to Miami, turn left, and return to start. And that was 8 days.
Jeez.
So was that, I mean, did you guys ever plan to do more of a structured rally, or why was that kind of left as vague as it was?
Well, I don't know. This is a long time ago. Remember?
Sure.
This is back in the days that you needed an SCCA license to be on a racetrack, and the only way to get an SCCA license was to get on a racetrack. And they were convinced that the cars were going to spontaneously burst into flames if a street car got anywhere near the hallowed pavement. So it took a lot of effort, and the first couple of One Laps were kind of drive around and guess Brock's mileage, and by the next year. He actually incorporated a couple of TSD rallies, which, for those that don't know, it's a time speed distance, where you drive at a cast speed until the cast changes, and you change it, and the person that arrives the closest to a perfect time wins the rally. Well, those are pretty boring and also open to lots of contempt and argument and craziness, but we did that for several years. And then he figured out he had a lot of time along the way that he could put in autocrosses or hill climbs or regularity runs or scenic routes or passage controls. And over time, that was it was fun. And by '89, he and Toli Artunoff, one of the great personalities of the sport, owned Hallett Motor Racing Circuit in Tulsa. And he and Brock told the SCCA it was going to be a 1.8-mile slalom. So you got on the racetrack and you slalom amongst all these cones forever. And fastest time won. Well, unbeknownst to the SCCA, the Brock and Tully kicked all the cones down, or probably just didn't put them up. And One Lap had its first time trial. And nobody died. And everybody thought that was bitching. That was fun. So the next year we had several more of those. And pretty soon everybody liked those a lot more than the rallies. And the rallies went away, and we started adding laps to the time trials. It started off originally as one lap. And then we've pretty much stabilized at 3 for a variety of reasons. One is a time constraint, obviously, because it's hard to put 80 cars on a racetrack and do more than 3 laps. But more importantly, modern street tires tend to get pretty greasy after 3 hot laps. So that's the current format we run. We do virtually every variety of automotive discipline that I can think of, except TSD rallies, because they make me crazy. So, but we'll do autocross, we'll do drag racing, we'll do ovals, we'll do, we've been to 85 road courses around the country over time. And we try to make it as fun and as challenging as possible. We don't drive as far as we used to. The old days, we'd be driving 5, 6, 7,000 miles in a week and still trying to drive on racetracks. And we pretty much cut it down to about 3,500 miles in a week, which is still challenging enough, but we're spending a lot more time at the tracks. But everybody gets a hotel every night.
Sure, yeah. I think I read that one year was it 10,000 miles total?
Yep, I did it.
I mean, and the number of days varied, didn't it, in the past?
No,
so
that was, I can't remember if that was 8 days or 10 days. But I did it in a Consular GTP, which I don't know if you're familiar with the car. But
we're very well familiar.
Yep, Adam is a big fan of that car. He's a Turbo Dodge aficionado, I suppose.
I guess.
Okay, well, I have one of the most famous Turbo Dodges. I rented one lap in 95.
Yep.
It's Skip Pipe's old Shane Lewis thrifty rent-a-car IMSA car that I put underneath my Dodge Shelby Charger.
It's a little wilder than mine, but
well, maybe, I don't know. You got Alcon brakes on yours?
No.
You got splined end NASCAR sway bars?
Not that I'm aware of. No, I don't think so.
He bought the car pre-modified, so who knows what's on there for sure.
I learn something new every time, but I'm pretty sure that they're a more standard-styled sway bar, at least.
I'm running 1.125" solid bars.
Jeez.
So
no, I'm sorry. I take that back. The front one's hollow because I want the oversteer.
Right.
Anyway.
So was that car banned from competition in one lap?
No, that car was not.
Okay.
The Consular was actually a brilliant car, and Warren Mosler actually loaned me one to drive in one lap, and I'm not going to tell you I'm the best driver in the whole world, but I am certainly the worst TSD person in the world, and my then brother-in-law made me look like a genius in TSDs because he got car sick as soon as it happened. So we did very well in the racetracks and incredibly poorly on the TSD sections. We finished very far back, but the car itself, because the rules Brock made up later, basically for the Raptor and the Intruder, which are the later models that had LS motors in them, were profoundly ugly. They were stupid fast. I mean, absolutely brilliantly fast because they were just a giant motor on a pretty sophisticated chassis with this kind of paper mache body on it. So it had no weight. It went stupid fast. But it won 2 or 3 times. I can't remember. But back then, Michelin was the primary sponsor. And Brock and the Michelin guy just conspired to write out those ugly cars. We made a minimum of 25 cars to be entered in one lap. And when I took it over, I killed that rule because I think it's important to have if it's got a license plate, I'm perfectly happy to have it come.
I like that attitude a lot better.
So, what do you think? I mean, what's the major difference between Cannonball and One Lap of America? And that may seem like an obvious question, but what about One Lap of America legitimizes some of the kind of the speed from one point to another, I guess you might say?
Actually, One Lap doesn't utilize. I mean, we transit between points.
Sure.
There's no points involved. There's no time limit. There's no nothing. if you look over the the schedule for next year, I've actually entered in the average speeds if you just drove from point to point. And most of the average speeds are somewhere around 28 miles an hour, which means you could basically walk between tracks in the time that I give you. And which means that everybody's going to run highway speeds. And by highway speeds, they're just going to run what they run normally. We have very few people in the modern age that are driving stupid because the incentive's not there. In the old days, yes. I mean, to be the first one at the next checkpoint was, serious bragging. And I'm not going to tell you that I was ever last to the checkpoint. But that's it. I mean, and now, in the old days, just the hint of Cannonball was enough to have legions of police meet us at borders, and it happened many times. We drove into Salt Lake City once, and there had to have been 40 cops, 2 planes, and a helicopter.
Holy cow.
And I don't know who told them that we were father rapers or we were going to steal their women or whatever the fuck it was. I don't know, but it was the most impressive law enforcement greeting I'd ever had. And again, that was the year I drove the Consular, and I stopped to get gas. And whenever I'm about to get a ticket, I stop to get gas if I can, so I can do 2 things at the same time. And the policeman drives up. He said, "Well, that's a neat car." And I said, "Yeah, what you doing?" And I told him. And he said, "Do you mind if I sit in it?" I said, "Of course, officer, sit in it." And he gets in, and here's this tiny little cockpit of the car. And he looks, and there's a CB radio with an Escort mounted on it. And he looks behind him, and there's another Escort in the rear window. And he says, "What are these for?" And I said, "Officers, that's in the unlikely event that I'm speeding."
I like that answer.
And, he couldn't write me for anything, but he got in his Blazer and drove away at 100 miles an hour trying to find me down the highway. But, I mean, in the modern age, I send out notices. Matter of fact, I'm just working on the notice right now to all the police departments in the states we travel through. Just to tell them, hey, this is our 35th time driving through your state. We're probably going to be in brightly colored cars with decals, but oddly enough, this is not the Cannonball.
Do you get any response from them when you send that stuff out?
2 types of response. I'll get a rookie that has no idea what it is and wonders what we're doing.
Sure.
And then I'll get in a lot of guys that'll call up and want to laugh and giggle. Or the other ones that just want to help, and they'll give, phone numbers in case we have an emergency or something like that. So, I mean, the world has changed on that deal. And part of it is because I'm not going to, stretch it and say we're responsible, but we're certainly more family friendly than we used to be.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you guys have real sponsors, and it's very public. It's not like Cannonball was.
It's a respected automotive competition nowadays, and we've pretty much proved ourselves, that we don't race on the highways. And it's not uncommon for me to go up to a competitor that's acting stupid along the way and remind him that he probably should behave better.
Sure.
Because it reflects, as Brock used to say, it reflects badly on the whole sport. If you're driving like a dick, and you're festooned with 100 stickers. I mean, not only you're making the event look bad, but you're making all the sponsors look bad too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the stakes are a lot different in one lap than they were 40 years ago. Yeah,
I mean, the Cannonball, you just nobody put decals in the car. I mean, you just you were just another car driving quickly down the highway. But even then, if you got pulled over, the first thing the policeman would say is the Cannonball.
Mm.
And when still in these days, I don't run a CB like I used to, but up until very recently when I did, we'd go blowing by a truck and they say, "Well, must be a Cannonball again."
Oh, the truck drivers would say that over the CB radios?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's all, that's all part of the American myth. Somebody's driving fast and got decals on. He must be doing something like a Cannonball.
Why? I mean, is it the movie, or why did Cannonball become? I mean, it's the idea of it is almost bigger than it. I mean, it is bigger than itself. It's mythical.
It's the American West, the free spirit, going fast. You got love affair with the automobile. It's untethered to sensible driving. I mean, it's everything that everybody wants when they want to get in a car. I mean, nobody ever gets in a car and says, "Fuck, I want to drive 55."
Right. Exactly. So I guess with that being said, what is your take on this push towards taking the responsibility away from the driver of cars? Because the Cannonball is the antithesis of that.
Right. Well, I mean, that's another hour show if you want. I'll opine on that. But
sure.
I've got a variety of opinions about that. Surprise, surprise. One is that 20% of all drivers want it right now because most of them can't drive, don't want to drive, and it's just one of those things they have to do every day. Another 50% of the country can't drive. And we stack them full of airbags and tires and safety crush zones, and still we kill 40,000 people a year.
Mm-hmm.
And in reality, what we ought to do is take out the airbag on the driver's side and put in a sharpened, polished spike.
Maybe leave those Takata airbags in. Maybe that's what they were up to.
No, that's fine. Yeah, the airbags in.
If you have a bomb in front of you, you might drive a little bit more responsibly.
Exactly. If you have a 4-inch spike sticking out of your steering wheel, you're really going to cut that person off?
You might put your phone down while you're driving.
You might put your phone down, exactly. But there are what's that old Toyota ad? Everybody thinks they're a better than average driver.
Yep.
They aren't, and I teach driving to the professionals around the country. And everybody kind of gives themselves great grades when they come in about what a good driver they are, and they can't get around a pylon without driving into it. So, I mean, really, we suck as drivers, and there would be probably a fairly instantaneous benefit for a decrease in highway deaths. That said, the driving time to and from places in congested areas would probably triple because of all these cars lined up one after another behind each other, and there wouldn't be any necessary stratification. It would just be one mass of cars going 2 miles an hour. The nice thing about stratification of highways is the cars that go fast clear out, the cars that go slow, ideally in the right lane, and you're able to fit a lot more cars in the highway.
So, getting back to maybe more fun topics, can you tell us a little bit about the route for one lap for 2018?
Sure. We started the Tire Rack in South Bend, Indiana. They've been our sponsor for, I think, 14 or 15 years now, and they're just wonderful people, and they provide great service, and they're just top-notch place to market tires. And they've been supporting us with friendship and sponsorship and advice for all these years. On Saturday, May 5th, we'll start there and do a wet skid pad. And that's really to develop numbers for the tire manufacturers, real world performance on a wet skid pad. And the reason we do the wet skid pad first is so the tires are relatively new. They're going to generate the best numbers. And that's oddly enough, lateral G is the fastest you go around, and the highest lateral G wins and gets the most points.
So, for those that don't know, there are some specific rules for what tires the competitors have to buy and use.
Right.
So they have to be purchased from Tire Rack, correct?
Purchased from Tire Rack. They have to be that year's tire, fresh, safe. People don't know that the older the tire gets, the more brittle it becomes, and not only is there a loss of performance, but there's a loss of safety. And some of our cars will be going fast enough that you really want fresh tires on them. And we do have a wear rating limit at 200 now, but that doesn't mean anything. The modern tires are so freaking good. As long as you stay in your temperature range, they're all handled just fine. But we have, I think it's 9 brands of tires, of which you can pick of hundreds of brands within each of those, or hundreds of models within those tires brands. So there's lots of selection. Then we'll drive off to Autobahn Country Club, the other side of Chicago, where we'll do our first time trial, when it'll also act as our qualifying session. So we'll be able to better understand the relative speeds of the cars. Then we'll go to Gateway the next morning in East St. Louis. We'll do 2 time trials on their little Roval. And then we'll go over and do a drag strip on their world-class course there. And for us, it's a low ET run and then a single elimination bracket race. Next day will be at Hallett Motor Racing Circuit, the same one I mentioned earlier. A couple time trials. The next day we'll be in High Plains Raceway outside of Denver. Then the trek everybody is not looking forward to, down to Motorsport Ranch in Crescent, Texas, near Dallas-Fort Worth, about 750 miles that day. Then over to NOLA, New Orleans Motorsports Park. They have a very, very fast paperclip shaped track. I think the front straight's about a half mile long.
Ooh.
And then we're up to the National Corvette Museum Motorsports Park. And we'll not only do 2 time trials there, but we'll do an autocross. And we finished up the next Saturday at Tire Rack for the dry skid pad.
So the current format with Tire Rack, you guys always start and end at their facility, correct?
Yes, we do.
So I'm pretty sure when you call around to all these different racetracks and they realize that you're Brock Yates Jr., you probably don't have too much trouble getting all these tracks aligned and scheduled for that week.
The hard part is coming up with a route. I mean, trying to link all the tracks together.
And make it different from year to year.
Right. I mean, try to add, big tracks, fun tracks, a variety, tracks we hadn't been to for a while. And I have to admit, it's getting harder because we've been to virtually every racetrack. I mean, in the Midwest, I'm missing Groton, I think, and I just can't make it work. We've been to Brainerd and Road America hundreds of times, Waterford Hills, and I tried to get to Michigan International to run their Roval again this year. But for some reason, and you mentioned I shouldn't have any trouble running a racetrack, they decided they didn't like me. And, I just don't understand.
You're a pretty high-profile guy for them not to like. You think they'd want that traffic, but...
I would have thought so too, but apparently not. So.
You've been out to RPM, which is probably our most local track to where we are, or ma'am.
Raceway Park in the Midlands?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I was there. I was their number they use for their official track length. John Davis, who's now passed, and I came up with it, and a Chrysler 300 in a odometer that measured in hundreds.
Interesting.
It's from the factory. It measures in hundreds.
No, it was.
Oh, okay. Let's say that's a bizarre feature, but
no, it's we were pre-running the course for the route book, and we showed up there, and it was in February. So, and they say, I asked if I could drive the course, and they said, sure, go ahead. So we went out, and I said, you don't realize your track's 2.26 miles long? He says, we need that.
Thank you for that information.
But yeah, no, I was there just as it opened.
What year did it open?
I was at 99.
Okay, maybe it was. I was thinking that track had been there longer, but it's quite possible that it hasn't been.
I think I was not 99 or 2000.
Yeah, that might be. It went through an ownership change, which you probably obviously know 2 or 3 years ago now, maybe. So
yeah. I've been friends with
recently?
Jim Howe for 100 years. He used to be the manager.
We actually went and spectated last time you guys were there. What was that? 3 years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, one lap's an event you want to see if it's not far away as a car guy, and we had friends on it, so it seemed like a natural thing for us to do. So we had a decently sized group of guys. We just went and watched the races. So
Oh, it's fun.
It is.
We have no rules in one lap. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but we don't care as long as you don't cause any problem. You're welcome to go pretty much wherever you want.
Yeah.
And everybody has fun, but no, we all crushed ourselves into the ladies' bathroom once where the tornado siren went off.
Yeah.
one of the things I really liked when we were there watching was it's great to see such a wild variance of cars on track, because I remember we're there and we're seeing there's a Carrera GT and a Miata on the track at the same time.
At the same time, yeah.
That does not happen on a fast Friday at Mayhem. That's not a thing for us.
And that year, I think a Honda was like in 6th place overall.
Yeah. Well,
Andy Hollis.
Actually, that was the year that he ran the Cayenne.
Oh, okay.
I think the first year he ran the Cayenne. So I kind of follow Hollis's endeavors pretty closely because I come from autocross, and so you kind of have to be required to be a bit of a fan of him. So.
Yeah, Ann and Andy are great friends of mine. I think the world of them. And
yeah,
we were at Grissom Air Force Base a couple of years ago, actually several years ago, and Andy was in 2nd place in the autocross. And Ann looks at me and says, "It's a long drive. Tell him he's got to go." Okay. So I go up to Andy and I said, "Andy, your wife says you got to go." He says, "I got one more run." I said, "Andy, you've been autocrossing for 6,000 years.
Yeah.
You go out, you make a run, and it's within 1/10 of all the other runs you're going to do. That's just how good you are."
Yep.
She says, "Yeah." I said, "I'll bet you $10 right now you can't beat the time if you go out again." Guess who owes who money?
Yeah, he's an amazing driver.
He is. He is. I mean, he's just a little machine.
And that little CRX he's got is just a mind-blowing thing. What he's been able to do with that car is just incredible. So I'm excited to see the Miata.
Well, hopefully the Miata makes it. He blew out a transmission the other day.
Yep.
This is a new car to him then?
He's got his thing is naturally aspirated is reliable.
Okay.
And he's
no car that he has is reliable.
Well, that's fair.
He's sticking with that story anyway.
You get up into those upper levels of naturally aspirated power, especially when you're using Hondas. Of course, you're running Ks.
Yep.
So he's got a K-Sopt CRX, and then eventually he moved, to a Miata. So he's got a K Miata.
K motor, right?
Oh, okay. I'm with you.
He built like metal wide body kit for the car. It just looks phenomenal.
Yeah, he's got like 285 stuffed all around it.
It's crazy. One lap Miata if you Google it. So.
I know. And the minute it rains, he's going to skate off the racetrack like made of ice. I mean, cars can be overtired. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that. Well, anyway.
Not in an autocross, but for sure on a track, yes.
But you got to have the horsepower to turn those wheels. And not only that, you have to have the brake horsepower to slow those wheels.
Absolutely.
You see those guys out there with those donked cars. Well, they've got the little tiny brakes in them. The brakes don't have the mechanical leverage to slow the car down.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you start to get into like scrub radiuses and all those strange things I don't really truly understand, but it's certainly possible to be overtired. So.
No.
So you guys had a lot of the guys from Motor Trend and Roadkill on they're on part of last year's route. Right. Have you seen a traffic change like on your website, your Facebook page? Did that add some?
The Facebook page, when they shared
yep.
our stuff, our traffic went through the roof.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And actually, the entries are up a lot this year, and we've got a lot of brand new people. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with Roadkill.
Sure.
Right.
That's what I figured. Hopefully. I mean, the Roadkill thing is quite the phenomenon. I mean, it's quite the freight train of power and promotion and whatever else. So I figured, once I heard that Roadkill had made it to one lap, I said, this is going to introduce that to a completely new audience of people, that they may be car people, or they may kind of tangentially be car people that kind of enjoy car stuff but don't really get into more of, I don't know what you want to call this, finer points or
grassroots racing,
slightly more obscure things. And I'm like, this should change, hopefully for the better, a lot of things for one lap.
Nobody's more surprised than I am on what social media has done. A couple years ago, my PR guy came up and said, we're going to do live feeds from the racetrack. I said, so? He says, well, it'd be good for it. I said, all those people sitting in their mother's basement in their pajamas are really going to care. And he says, no, really. And I said, my wife is going to use it as proof of life. She's going to say, oh yeah, my husband's still alive, and she's going to shut it back off.
He's still walking around, so it must be okay.
Yeah, bastard. Anyway, but it turned out that with Roadkill's help and Solomon Rosenthal's live feeds, at one point we had something like 400,000 people watching us at Road America.
That's insane.
I mean, that was just. I mean, I was amazed. I mean, it never would have occurred to me that, anybody but demented, strange folks that the porn feed shut off by mistake or something that would be watching this.
I'm sure you distracted a lot of people from work that day.
Apparently, I did. Apparently, I don't have any friends, so it wouldn't be anybody I knew.
It's honestly, it's pretty amazing. I don't know. Have you gone back and watched that episode?
Yeah, I did.
Did you? Okay. It's amazing. I was amazed that car ran after 2 days. Yeah. I mean, the state that it was in when they started, and the look on Tony Angelo's face when Freiberger explained to them what he had to do in 2 days.
Oh, yeah. Well, Tony actually is a good friend of mine. He lives in the same town here in PA that I do. We have cocktails now and then. Yeah. And it's really a nice guy, but he's doing the same thing to his own car in a cold garage right now.
I've been watching him on Instagram. He was working on those days when it was 0 degrees outside, trying to put that 350 or something, whatever it was he was doing.
Yeah. So he's not very smart on Roadkill, and he's not very smart in real life.
Still one of my favorite guys to watch.
I love Tony Angelo. He's great.
He is great. I mean, he's a really God. He's a much nicer person than I would have ever imagined. I mean, and to be fair, the other folks, Mike and Elena, are just lovely people. I mean, normally we have some sort of rift along the way with the television folks, about something, and I have to. Pull up and say, hey, I'm Brock Yates, I run this event. And, I mean, they couldn't have been nicer. I mean, professional and easy and, did not interfere in my life at all and only made it better. So they're true professionals.
They're welcome back is what you're saying.
Oh, of course they are.
I think that's a little bit of their appeal, too, is
right.
They definitely appeal to... I hate to use this term, but it would be a term that TV people would use. They appeal to middle America. Yeah, they appeal to middle America. But, I mean, they really do appeal to just people that wrench on stuff in their free time. And because that's what they do. I mean, if Freiberger didn't have that job, he would do that in whatever capacity he could on his own. So,
right. I mean, and they're very good at it, too. I mean, not good at it enough to keep a Pontiac motor running, but they're, but they're undeterrable.
Sometimes you should replace actually, you should always replace the bearings. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Angelo's beef, or what the serious beef was, when they were rebuilding the Pontiac, he says, "We've got a 350 sitting here."
Yep.
I mean, let's go run the event. We can have that thing in like 20 minutes. Oh no, we have to have the right heads, and I mean, those guys know all the part numbers for every esoteric part that ever came out of Detroit. So, I mean, they know exactly what they're doing. Unfortunately, it takes a little longer.
Yeah. Well, when you start on something, when you have to literally build an entire car in 2 days, chances are you're going to miss something. And I think that was Tony's point is, hey, we got this motor that's kind of together. Let's use this. No. Let's put this 400 in that we need to get all new parts for and try to build it and then put it in the car. And then, and then he gets in trouble because he, in quotes, blew up the motor, which I think is hilarious that he always gets stuck with blowing things up.
Well, if Freiberger wanted, he could have driven it first, and then he could have blamed.
Yeah, exactly. But they put him in there first.
The hot shoe. I mean...
Yeah, the only thing I wish is that if Angelo, when he broke it, if he had pulled into the pit lane instead of out in the middle of the racetrack, would have been helpful.
Oh, did he douse the racetrack?
No.
Oh, okay.
But there's Memphis has the race course is the staging lanes, and there's a big gap in the wall where you pull in when you're done, and he rolled right past the gap, so I had to push him back in.
Oh, I see. Fair enough.
So if you go back and look at the video, it's me pushing.
Yeah, I'll go back and watch it. I do recall that now. So,
but no, they're nice people.
Yeah, no, they are pretty awesome. So I had a couple questions from Bill and Scott from Team CornFed that I'm supposed to ask you, and I don't know the weight of these questions. So you can also just tell me that you're not going to answer them because these kind of sound like inside things I don't know anything about. But the first one was, they said I need to ask you something about the Doubler cone, which is D-U-B. Doubler cone.
Doubler cone. Herr Doubler is a chocolatier from Switzerland that's been running 22 years with us.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
And a lovely man.
Does he actually... So he comes over from Switzerland every year to do this?
Yeah, with 3 cars.
Jeez.
Anyway, at one or two racetracks, Memphis Motorsports Park being the first one that he did it. I don't know if you're familiar with the track, but it's a long drag strip straightaway to a long looping right-hander that comes back for a series of switchback S's to the aforementioned staging lanes. Well, he was driving a Tahoe one year, and he needed to make up some time, so he drove straight through the S's. And he was airborne much of the time. And it was quite a sight to see. So we suggested that not happen anymore. And so, henceforth, we put up Doubler cones, which are cones to keep Herr Doubler or anybody else that thinks it's a good idea with enough ground clearance from shortcutting the racetrack in certain places.
Fair enough. Another question I have is, do you know at which angle an HHR tips over?
Not yet.
I haven't found out.
Easily my favorite one-lap picture I've ever seen in my entire life.
It seems like
Marcos up on 2 wheels at Memphis. That was at Motorsport Ranch Crescent.
I have this odd soft spot for HHRs. I don't know why, because they're kind of terrible, but I really, really want one.
I know that at Nelson Ledges, before they just went through the repaving, you could drive exactly 1 lap without the side curtains going off in an HHR.
Wow.
Robbie pulled up a picture of it again for our people that are watching the YouTube feed, and that is hilarious. I mean, I don't know how far that is, if that's 20 degrees or what that is.
It's got to be more than that.
It's pretty far.
I think it's more than that.
I think it's close to 45.
Yeah, Marcos is fearless. I mean, he's a very, very good driver, too, but he's, we're all touched, but he's especially so.
Somebody on the group this week is going to draw that in and figure that out.
Figure out what that angle is. Yeah. Perfect.
I'm estimating 30.
30?
That's Robbie's
The engineer says 30, so.
I mean, I know that BMW will stop in the high banks at Daytona. At least I did it. And it won't fall over. So that's 30.
Well, that's good. Then you're fine.
Of course, every idiot light came out on the dash. Wasn't very happy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Wasn't sure if it was the motor was about to explode or I was about to land on my head. So
I have another one here. I'm supposed to ask about BKSOD.
Bob Nozer's School of Driving.
Yes. And how it changed the face of racing. These are direct quotes, by the way. Other than the HHR, I literally had no idea what these things were. I was just told that I was supposed to ask them.
Bob is a really nice guy that has come every year for the last 6 years, I think, and stayed in the top 5 unless he unless he broke. And Bob is getting better as a driver, and he started off with a very fast car and way too much courage. And now he's limited his courage and gotten better, but he has a tongue-in-cheek school where he's teaching his co-driver and anybody else that'll listen how to drive, and do not do anything he does.
Don't sign up for this class that he sent me.
Sign up for this.
Jeez.
Did he's got the GTR, doesn't he? Not that narrows it down necessarily, but did he win last year?
No, he was second last year.
Okay, maybe.
No, he broke. He broke in GTR, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Robbie's trying to find a picture. I couldn't even tell you.
He should have won when Casey fell out, but he had an issue also.
That's the name of the game, though.
Yep.
Attrition.
Keeping running. Yep, absolutely.
The more you tweak those things, the more likely they'll fall apart.
It's a balance.
Yeah.
And Bob's tweaked his car pretty good, so much so that the constant joke with him is that he has $25,000 transmissions scattered around the country just for
fun. Have you done any other like TSDs or gumballs or any of that stuff, or has this just kind of been your experience?
Oh, I mean, I've had a checkered life with racing. I mean, yes, I did. No, I never did a TSD on purpose.
Never signed up for one of those.
But I autocrossed with very, I didn't do it enough to care. I had a second fastest time of day with my Charger once in an autocross nearby.
Weird.
Sorry?
Given that car, that's not a surprising result.
It used to be pretty quick. Now cars are much faster. But I ran the Silver State race in Nevada with my blind date navigator, who turned out to be my wife, in the Charger also. Averaged 114.996 miles an hour. With one of the only 411 gear sets. Actually, it's a 410 gear set in a limited slip, by the way.
Was that all of fourth?
Sorry?
Was that all of fourth, 114?
No, it was a 5-speed, but it was.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the transaxle is a 410 gear,
right?
Rather than the 387 that comes in the cars, with a disc limited slip. But I was going to run the 225 mile an hour class until I figured out 125 was $5,000 for 112 miles.
I don't.
The car would run it ran 142 with a GPS, but I wasn't able to go faster than that because of the rules of the contest. Also, I raced a 54 Lincoln in Mexico in the La Carrera, which was really stupid.
That's quite a race, isn't it?
I did the short one across Baja.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that the car that ran out of brakes on you, like right after the start?
Yeah. That was the car that I finished coming down the mountain in Ensenada with no brakes.
Yeah.
And I had to teach myself how to do a Scandinavian flip, so I didn't die. And now I will go back to self-driving cars. I will not get into a self-driving car until I'm told or proven that it can do a Scandinavian flip when the brakes go away.
I feel like that's a fair request.
I think so too.
Elon Musk is pretty active on his Twitter account. I wonder if you just tweeted that at him, if he just a thought. I know you're working on flamethrowers and other stuff, rocket ships, but if you could throw this in there for me, I'd appreciate it.
It'll be in the next air update.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they could have it tomorrow for all we know.
Oh, who knows?
So anyway, do you guys have any other questions for Brock? I know you're starting to get a little close. You had somewhere you needed to be.
I gotta go pick our daughter's at the 20-degree barn for where she's riding.
Oh, that's cold.
It's dedication.
That's her problem.
It is. Do you guys have anything then, or are you good?
It.
So you're involved in the driving dynamics, right?
Right. Yeah. And driving dynamics is primarily a course that teaches the fleet drivers how to drive. And it's I don't know if you've ever done street survival or One
It's
of the
done
good
locally
cheap
here.
driving courses, we actually make them do stuff with their car. Hit the brakes, turn the wheel. But like every other aspect of driving, the most important element is your eyes. So everything we teach is about looking far ahead, looking to where you want to go. And one of our clients has seen a 93% reduction in avoidable accidents based on the course.
Good grief.
And really what it is a testament to just how much we fucking suck.
Yep.
Yeah, I think driving education is the biggest.
We don't put any pride in it. We don't, our parents who teach us that don't know how to drive and are terrified. I bought my wife a Dodge Bighorn pickup truck to tow the horses around with. And I made her take the course so she could appreciate just how good the truck handles. And everybody, when they first do a slalom, are convinced the car's going to fall over.
Yeah, I think people don't realize that you don't, like how far you can get into a car, that you'll never reach just driving around on the road.
Stuff.
Yeah.
You got to be off the track or off the driving surface to hook a wheel.
Yeah.
If you do, then it gets really exciting. But up until that point, the tires are making noise or having fun.
Yep.
And people just don't appreciate how wonderful these vehicles are nowadays.
Oh, it's so much different than
even stuff like a Dodge Ram.
40 years ago. My dad's got a 3/4 ton GMC, and when we first got it, no power steering, no power brakes. It's not rack and pinion. It's a manual. That towing a trailer with that's a handful. Tow it with a new pickup, it's a completely different experience.
Well, I don't know. Did you ever go to SDAC 10? Or was it 12? That was in. That's the Shelby Dodge Club meeting. We had an autocross in near Baltimore, and my car was broken, so I drove down on my dually, which is a still-in lowered after it's a dually conversion, and it's a 91. I still have it, and I looked and I said, "God, that's a pretty wide autocross." So I entered the car and beat a third of the Shelbys.
Oh man!
So I will say it's driver.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep. But the driver never wants to be wrong. It's always the car's fault.
Right.
Oh, no, I learned a long time ago that I'm not particularly good at it. And anybody tells you they are, it just sucks more.
Give them a wide berth, basically. Stay far away.
That's fair.
The guy kept showing up. I'm a professional driver. Oh, yeah. I don't know who paid you, but anyway.
Well, anyway, Brock, this was excellent. I appreciate this very much. This was kind of a bucket list item for me, so we are very appreciative that you took the time out of your day to be on our show. And
call me anytime.
I'm
got
sure
my number now.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll give you a buzz, or if we end up on one lap or in one lap or whatever, we'll definitely talk to you then as well.
I hope so. But, come visit us. We're going to be driving right by you.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that map again and see where all you guys are going to be, and if there's a spot that we can pick up with you, or maybe next year, or who knows. I'm sure all of us at some point want to enter, because it's a big bucket list item for people that race. We'd love to do it. So thank you again. This is very excellent. We're going to go ahead and sign off with you, and we'll follow up, because I think we got a couple things that we're going to do on our show to wrap up. But thank you very much again.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me, and again, have a lovely night. And
One Lap of America
on the black stuff.
Yeah. What's the website again? OneLapOfAmerica.com, or what's
exactly?
Okay, and
all spelled out.
Yep. Tire Rack, BRM are some of your sponsors for this year. Who else did you guys have on?
Grassroots Motorsports.
Grassroots Motorsports.
Yeah,
okay.
Bernard Richards manufacturer, built really nice high-end watches.
Yep.
Got a couple of aficionados here.
Yep.
So.
We'll see you, Brock. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Cheers.
Excellent. That was good.
That was awesome.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
that was Brock Yates.
That was Brock Yates. It was like when we did that Alex.
What sort of weird world do we live in?
I don't know.
Where these people want to talk to
That
us.
was the craziest thing. Is I sent him a quick message. I'm like, well, how do I reach this guy? So I go on Facebook. I'm like, oh, Rob.
Was that his personal account?
Yeah, everyone's like, Brock Yates Jr. And I sent him. I said, hey, You don't know me. You want to talk?
Just a random guy.
And he immediately like hit accept and responded. He's like, yeah, man, let's do it. Oh, man.
Such a friendly guy.
Oh, I've dug a hole now. I gotta commit.
Woo!
Very friendly guy.
He's very friendly.
That
He's excellent. He's an excellent
Wow.
dude. But he's like Alex. He's that same personality where you just spin him up and let him go, and they.
Well, and I'm sure he doesn't look at himself like. He doesn't think of himself like we think of him.
Right.
No.
To him, he's just another guy.
He's just a guy,
and he's just doing his thing. He's just going to pick up
This
his
is-
daughter from horse
right.
practice. I mean, he's just a guy to him.
Yeah,
But he's a legend.
it's life. He is a
And
legend.
his family is
There's
a
Yeah, his whole family.
Yeah,
So-
this is cool for people on YouTube. Robbie brought this in. Cannonball. It's the book by his dad, Brock Yates.
It's one
And,
of three that well, not three of the same book, but I have three of his books. That one's autographed. I'm super pumped about that.
This one's autographed.
Yeah, that one's signed.
This book that's now missing is autographed.
Where did it go?
What happened to this book?
I honestly don't remember.
Oh,
if
that's cool.
I don't remember if I bought it knowing it was
man.
autographed.
That's kind of hard to see with the light. There we go. People
Where'd
can
you
see
find it?
I got it online, and I honestly can't remember if I knew that it was signed when I bought it because I've had it for years, and I read it last year, and I was flipping through. I was like, "This is signed."
So that it really is signed. It's not just like that's what they all look like.
No,
right?
No, it looks like
It's quite clearly not printed.
Yeah, look
at it.
oh
It's
yeah,
not-
that's for sure a
That's
Sharpie.
a Sharpie.
Absolutely. You don't.
Yeah, I'll say his other books
cool.
aren't signed.
Jeez.
So that one turned into be like, yeah, this is cool. This is one of my prized books.
This is my favorite book now.
This is right up there.
There we go. Cool stuff.
Yep.
Okay, try to switch gears and be professional. Should we do the opener? Do Adam's middle thing.
Presented by.
Presented by Factor Fabrication.
There we go. Okay, so a while back. This has been quite a while back now. One of our petrol box items was that race fuel scented candle. right?
Yes, which I still have. It's like half burned. I've actually
Yeah.
been using it. It,
So-
it lasts a long time.
My
Yep.
girlfriend won't allow me to burn it.
I burned
So
it
I
in the
just
basement
like
for
every once in a
10
while I'll
minutes.
just grab it and just
Smell
open
it?
it up and smell because I think it smells
Like
good.
we said, it doesn't burn like it smells. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I mean?
never
So
got
it's
a chance
different.
to,
but
but-
she said no.
Yeah, she's not into it. But anyway, one of the guys that I work with,
I think
he
it's
was
that first one, Robbie. I think that's it.
one of the guys I work with. He was talking about how he had to get, or he got his apparently hippie sister like some candle like patchouli or something.
Patchouli.
Is that? I don't know.
It's a hippie perfume.
Yeah, apparently it's a hippie thing.
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. It's a hippie perfume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently it's not exactly the best smelling thing in the world.
So it's actually perfume and not
he got a
candle version.
He got a candle
Got it.
scented as such, whatever that is. And he was complaining because his truck smells of that.
So hippies have all decided that this is what they're going to wear as perfume
Covers up the smell of weed really good.
and
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
why-
BO,
that's
I
why-
assume.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's why I say hippies instead of stoners, but now I've already...
Okay. It's
Stoners,
for
there
stoners.
now.
stoners
So-
love
All right,
it.
that's, I'm just trying to figure out what this is, but now I know.
He specifically stated hippie, so this is
Whatever.
a whole
Yeah.
new world to me. I don't know.
I don't know
what
how
it
to
is.
spell it.
I don't even know what it is. But anyway, what I'm getting at here is I was discussing with him the race fuel scented candle, and I brought it into work today because I wanted him to smell it, right? Because
Yep.
he was curious in it.
Yep.
And he was not having it.
It's better than
He
patchouli.
being not a car guy of any caliber.
Yep.
And so it brought to my mind, like, what sort of things do car guys like the smell of that the rest of the world just does not understand?
Bondo.
Bondo.
It smells
Freaking love the
which
smell of
that
Bondo.
candle smells strongly
Similar, very
of.
similar.
I think it smells like Bondo.
Yeah, I think it smells more like Bondo than race fuel.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy the scent of Bondo.
Rubber for sure, because it's actually a
rubber.
terrible smell.
man, I
it's the
love
worst
burnt rubber.
smell.
You're talking like burning rubber.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you go
Right, from a
drifting or
burner.
you're at the the drag strip.
There is nothing on this planet that is better than race gas being burned while doing a burnout. That is the greatest smell on the planet.
But objectively, if you're like out and about, you're hanging out in your house, something smells like burning rubber, it's a bad
Well, you
day.
panic.
Right. It's like this is a bad.
Something
This is not a
just
good
happened,
smell.
right.
Yeah.
But I love it. And so I didn't, like, I was trying to think, is there anything else besides those, like, obvious ones? Because, like, everybody knows rear end grease or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that smells
It's
terrible.
terrible.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that. But that's probably a smell that nobody realizes outside of the car world. It's just horrid.
Yeah, gear oil, just in general.
That's high sulfur, isn't it? Is that why it smells like that?
Yeah, sulfur stinks. I don't know if it's high. I don't know. I couldn't
I thought
answer
it was
that.
something along those lines.
Maybe.
I could be
I don't know.
completely off base. I'm not sure, but I didn't know if there's anything else you guys can think of that I love race fuel. That's my big thing. Do you guys like the smell of E85?
No, but I like the smell of our car running rich.
Yeah, actually, that V8 with no cat smell is like one of the best smells of all time.
The new 240 smell.
That new 240 smell. This is the way the 240s were supposed to smell.
I fired it up the other day, and the whole shop smelled like it was
It
great.
doesn't smell like cheap cigarettes.
Well, I mean, it smells like cheap cigarettes too. But yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about that smell because I hadn't. But it's like fuel injected V8s with no cats is a very specific smell.
Not carbureted V8s.
No, it's
That's a
like
different
because his
smell?
car smells like it. My car smells like it.
Yeah.
But
The Camaro doesn't smell like
No?
it. It's a weird
Interesting.
smell.
I guess
Yep.
I've never. So I'm sure people could probably put this together, but I can't smell it like
Dang.
anything.
This is not a topic for you, to be completely honest.
So, like I gotta really dig my nose into that candle to get anything out
That's
of it.
probably why you
most
like it,
days.
because you're like, finally, this sense works.
I can smell
Yes!
It's strong
It's
enough.
a miracle.
It is really strong.
It's very strong.
It's very strong. Apparently, it hangs out in the nostrils for quite a while, but whatever.
I would say, like, what's this? Oh, that's the hand cleaner.
Cleaner.
This is some other stuff. Oh, God, I'm going to tip that over. This stuff, probably, like polishes and stuff.
Yeah.
Objectively, that doesn't.
Some of them actually.
Smell that. You'll be able to smell that. That's pretty strong. But, like, how about this?
Oh, okay. Yeah. That
How about,
smells.
this kind of reminded me of it, but ether's the term I'm coming up with, but it's not really what I mean.
Carb
Paint
cleaner?
thinner.
Yeah,
Paint thinner.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's an interesting
Basically,
smell,
any
too.
body shop smell does that for me. Like it's, I don't know if it's. I think it's because of like, I learned on the 240. Like I spent an entire winter. All we did was working on the car doing body work, and then I worked at a body shop for a couple of years. And I don't know if that's like nostalgic for me, but body shop smells for sure. Just,
Do you think you'd feel that way if you still worked at a body shop today? If you went in and did
No,
your
'cause
40 hours a week at a body shop?
No, because that'd just be every day. So
Yeah.
it's hard to say. Because like when I was doing the body work on the 240 this year too, it's like I'd walk in the shop, I was like, man,
It smells good
smells
in here.
good in here. And then if I let the stove go all night, and then it kind of smoldered, and then the whole thing kind of like that stinky smoke smell.
Right.
That sucks.
You just got to be burning the right wood, Robbie.
No, I just can't let it just smolder when it's just ash, because then it,
Oh.
then
It backs up into the shop.
it kind of stinks a little bit.
Yeah, fair enough. It's an interesting topic that would be great for the group.
There you go.
If you're on the Facebook group,
I'm sure you guys got a bunch of them.
somebody will have some good ones for that.
Yeah, that we're not thinking of.
I know. I'm just kind of throwing this at you. You guys didn't have any time to think about
We'll
it. But
give it with a couple.
it is what it is.
Yep. Don't forget, check out factorfabrication.com. Go to the Instagram page. You should definitely follow that because it's pretty rad. As we said before, Booney is a mastermind and a master craft at what he does.
All right. Well, if this website had a scent, what would it smell like?
Rich mahogany.
And leather-bound books.
Leather-bound books.
And
It would smell like Ron Burgundy's. Well,
maybe,
no, maybe
a
it
little
wouldn't.
bit of welding.
I was going to say
thrown in
it
for
smells
good
like,
measure.
ooh, that's probably a smell that people don't like. Because that's a very distinct smell.
See, I don't. That's not a bad smell to me, anyway.
But
but
I think
the
most people,
argon and the the
Yeah.
burning metal smell.
Yeah.
I like that.
people probably don't like that, though.
I don't
Normal
hate
people?
it, but I don't know that I like it.
I like the smell of wood shavings.
Depends on what wood.
I think most people probably do, don't they?
Rich mahogany. No,
Phrasing. I don't know that I've ever smelled rich mahogany.
you have.
We'll go over to a factory. I'm sure he's got mahogany over there.
Probably.
You can check it out. So anyway, factorfabrication.com. Builds rad stuff. Check it out there. Now we're going to move on to the news, right?
Just roll right
let's
into
do
it.
it.
Just going to keep rolling. So let's go through the
a freight
news.
train.
First news topic is GM wants to make truck beds out of carbon fiber. Robbie, have you placed your deposit?
No, because it's stupid.
It's absolutely stupid. But do you know why?
Because where do you want weight?
In the back.
In the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you know why they are?
Because they can't make them out of
They
aluminum
can't
now.
make them out of aluminum now.
You can't go back on that.
No.
Not with that commercial they made
Not with
about Ford.
how much fun they made out of Ford. There's no way they could go
aluminum
back.
bodies. That's
Aluminum.
the worst
Dumb.
idea. It's
If you were being attacked by a bear, would you want an aluminum cage? That was a bear, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I
something
don't-
stupid
all
like
I remember
that.
is them like taking that big dump loader of rocks and raising it like 10 foot in the air and dropping them. And I'm like, yeah, that's going to dent the bed. That dent up a steel
Put a
bed,
Chevy
you
under there to
fucking
see what it looks
assholes.
like.
Of course, the dent in the bed. If you did that to a carbon fiber bed, it'd be even worse because it would just splinter.
Well, and that's the thing too, because carbon fiber you can't repair.
No,
you basically have
aluminum's hard enough.
Aluminum at least is like a metal that you can replace or fix on and do work to. Whereas carbon fiber, it just shatters. It's even worse than fiberglass.
Stress cracks out. Spider
you have to
runs
replace
away,
the whole
it's
thing,
gone.
really. But yeah, I mean, people put weight in the back of their truck for grip all the time. Like the last thing you want to do is take weight away from the back.
That was the other thing I thought too. Is like
make the whole front end out of carbon fiber.
Sure, why not?
And leave
Can
the
we
back
have,
steel.
yeah, carbon fiber body, carbon fiber roof, carbon fiber hood.
I think
any of those
roof
things
and stuff like that makes sense. I don't know how. I don't like the idea of carbon fiber on more pedestrian, I suppose, vehicles. I get it with like supercars and stuff like that. And if you've got the budget to buy a supercar, you can swallow the pill when you break shit. But I don't want it on my daily driver.
And I definitely don't want it on my work truck.
Yeah. I mean, carbon fiber is only going to get so cheap because it's so labor intensive.
Right.
So, economies of scale. I mean, yes, but it's like I said, it's only going to get so inexpensive.
Even if it does get down there to like steel prices, it's still going to require, in my opinion, it would require repair or replacement, more accurately, a lot more often than a metal hood. Like if I had a carbon fiber hood, I'd be worried about like hitting birds and shit. Because right now I hit a bird, I maybe have to go to the car wash. But that might require replacing a hood if it's made out of carbon fiber.
Yeah, you dent metal, you shatter carbon fiber.
Right, and
really,
yeah, and I can live with a few dents in my work truck.
Yep.
But when you start breaking and tearing things away, that's an issue.
Right, and from a hood standpoint, it should be strong enough to handle quite a bit. Because I mean, it's strong. Let's not kid
That's
ourselves.
fair. I
Carbon fiber
understand
is
that,
strong, but like as a work platform in the back of a truck, yeah, you're gonna have to have really thick carbon fiber. And it's going to be harder to fix on and work on and replace. So,
was this specific about what was going to be carbon fiber? It really wasn't.
The whole bed.
The whole thing?
The whole fucking thing.
The floor of it, too?
That's what they're talking.
That doesn't really make any sense
That's
at
what
all.
they implied. I guess, I don't know.
I wonder if the shell, the outside shell, because, I could see an engineer making a leap of faith and saying, let's take the bed sides and make them carbon fiber. I could see somebody rationalizing that.
Yeah, or like the structural part of it. And
but
then the skin will still be not
whatever.
aluminum,
But
steel.
yeah, still, I think that they're looking at the wrong thing for sure. First of all, why is the truck so damn big? If you're having problems with your EPA fuel economy,
let's calm down on the truck size.
Problems. Let's try to downsize the truck a little bit. I wonder if people actually how people buy pickup trucks is my point. So if I'm going to go out and buy a pickup truck, and I'm looking at all the pickup trucks, do I go buy the Ram 1500 because it has the highest towing capacity? Or do I buy the Ram pickup truck because I'm a Mopar guy?
I think trucks more than any other vehicle. You buy the Dodge because you're a Dodge guy. You buy the Ford because you're a Ford guy. You buy the GM because you're a GM guy. I think trucks, that is a larger percentage of the market than any other section of automobiles.
So what it comes down to at that point then is bragging rights, which is bullshit.
Right.
So people aren't actually, because, okay, so if you're a GM guy and I don't really see a scenario where you're a GM guy, I can rationalize towing 8,000 pounds. Okay, and maybe that's on the verge of being, which I think you can tow like 10,000 pounds with a 1500, which is fucking insane. You shouldn't be towing that much. Like nobody that is buying a pickup, 99% of those people should not be towing 10,000 pounds. To go back to Brock Yates' point,
there's a level of safety that the average person doesn't think about. Like maybe we shouldn't make them so good because some people go out and buy these monster campers that they can't handle.
Yeah, maybe that's just.
Leave those things to the dedicated guy.
Hate to be that guy, but maybe the government needs to step in and be like, "Hey, maybe you should have a CDL for that." If you
requiring a CDL would destroy that industry. It'd be over,
and the lobbyists won't. I mean, they'd have a field day. They'd freak out.
Yeah.
But anyway, my point is, if you go to the dealership, you're at the GM dealership because you want a Chevy or a GMC or whatever. I don't think you're going to leave there go to the Ford dealership because it can tow another 500 pounds. I think you're just going to buy the 2500.
Right, but then when you go to coffee at the Casey's down the street and you pull up next to your buddy who just bought his F-150 Limited, you're going to start bragging about those things.
I got that V6 in there, that bullshit, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think, relax a little bit on that. Let's stop the towing capacity war and just, build a normal pickup truck, and I think we'll be okay.
No, I agree.
It's just
I think carbon fiber.
We're way overdoing it.
Yeah, I think carbon fiber is a miracle material, but we're just trying to force it on everything now. We need to cut weight. Carbon fiber.
Fixed it.
Yep, done.
So, like, if they made a door or a tailgate out of carbon fiber, when you specifically doors, because they have the most amount of repetition, but when you slam those things, do you think that that's going to wear at carbon fiber at a higher rate than it would a metal door? Because I would assume
metal
that even
door
when
flexes.
it's set, a metal door, number one, it rebounds better, and number two, it's probably more rigid as a material, isn't it?
Carbon fiber? Oh, yeah.
Than carbon fiber? Do you think carbon fiber is more rigid?
Yeah, carbon fiber is absolutely more rigid.
Okay.
Carbon fiber is...
Do you think it has the shock absorbing, or is it just going to, over time, is that resin going to crack and lead to problems sooner than a standard door?
I'm not sure how they make the doors. But yeah, no, a carbon fiber is...
Well,
it's a ceramic, so it's actually it's harder and stronger. What's the word to use in materials? But it doesn't have like the elasticity that metal does. It's not workable. Like there's like one term, it's
not fragile, is it? That's not the term you're looking for.
No, there's a term on the tip of my tongue that describes it perfectly. But like glass is stronger than metal, like steel, but it's more. Yeah, I'll say it's brittle, so it shatters.
Right, but I just like slamming a door because like if I go out and buy carbon fiber doors for my 240SX, my 350Z, whatever.
Right.
Chances are that car's, I'm not driving it everywhere I go. I'm not going to put 350,000 miles on it. So the limitations of how many times you can open and close that door are never going to be reached. But on a more standard car, do you think that could be an issue over time?
Well, not necessarily, because I think all of your contact points are going to have your rubber seals, and then like your latches are still going to be metal. So in theory, you should never have any carbon fiber to metal or carbon fiber to carbon fiber contact.
Okay.
So yeah, so really that shouldn't matter.
I didn't know if like
I think
slamming motion, if that's going to start to spider web the resin and stuff like that over time.
At some point, there's metal attached to carbon fiber, so that energy gets transferred from the metal, whether it be the latch or the hinge, to the carbon fiber structure.
Right.
Yeah.
His point is, does at some point that break down after 10 years?
It could be 100,000 times that you've opened and closed that door, and now it's going to start to like give away.
Yeah, probably. I think your resin will get. Yeah, your carbon fiber will last.
It's the resin. It's more the resin. I understand that, but you're not going to get away from that. You can't not have it.
No.
So is there? I mean, I know that they're not going to care because as long as it gets out of the warranty period, they don't want you in it anymore anyway.
Yeah, so it should last that long anyways.
But
yeah,
I mean, is that a?
And maybe it's offset by.
Is that a thought?
Rust potential.
Yeah, there's no rust.
That's
and
true.
It's
Yeah.
lighter.
Think about that.
So in theory, you should be slamming it. Not as hard because it's lighter. It's a lighter door.
I think that's going to cause people to slam it harder.
Nah, you could just kind of like push it in the breeze.
But Robbie, that's not how people are.
Yeah, but
I know
they're going to get
people get in my car and they're like,
that's Robbie's
Wham!
Robbie's number one car etiquette pet peeve.
it's not pressing all the buttons on his dash.
that's number two. But
Because for some reason, American cars, you kind of got to pull a door harder.
Yep, I had a friend.
For whatever reason, that just seems to be a thing. And like Robbie's Toyota would practically close it for you. The RAV, oh man, he gets so bent out of shape when
Is
just,
it people getting in, sit down, close the door?
No, I had a friend.
Okay.
I had a friend, Matt.
Right.
I don't think he listens, but we were friends in high school and college.
if he does, fuck you.
No, but
Damn it, Matt.
he's in my fantasy football league. You still owe me because I got second place. Anyways,
Air out all your dirty laundry here. You can't rebut.
this
anything.
is a safe place for us. But yeah, the RAV4, the doors they basically close themselves. Like you just push them and they close
From the outside.
From the outside. And
After
then,
egress.
yeah, and then the Subarus are that way too. Like those aluminum doors are so light. But then he came from like a Chevy Malibu. Yeah. No, he had a Buick LeSabre. Then he went to a Malibu.
Which probably means that the door pins were bent. You know, they were
Yeah,
like
'cause,
falling
like, my
off.
S10
Wrench that
My
thing.
S10, the hinges, the pins are a real problem, and
Yep.
they'll oval out. And
GM makes their pins out of like melted down aluminum pop cans, I think.
I have jacked up on the bottom of a GM door to kind of lift it up
Yeah.
a little bit. All
Yeah.
right, now it's good again for another
Yep.
year or two.
But anyways, we'd go somewhere and then we'd get out of the car and we'd like go to like say we're at the gas station. We'd just get out and he'd just turn around and both hands and just wham, just slam the fucker shut. And what are you doing?
Stop! You madman.
It's not made out of lead. It's fine.
This is not an American car. Relax.
just
So
watch.
that's what he'd first say. That's the very first. Hey, this is
Japanese engineering,
Japanese
goddammit.
quality. You don't need to slam it.
Where were we?
Mongrel. I think that was it. Carbon fiber bad idea. Carbon
think
fiber other places
Better idea.
better idea.
Maybe.
Doors, yeah, doors, hood, something else.
Yeah, people make doors.
Up next, Lexus buyers say the grille is the second most appealing feature, and no, that's not right. And
No.
this is, the thing is, okay, so this is what is that? This is the drive. Scroll up. What's the actual title of this? Oh, sorry, Robbie, clicked on it.
the second.
Does it say the people say that? Because
It says buyers. does
Okay,
it
so-
not?
No,
If-
the manufacturer
yeah.
is claiming the.
Oh.
if you go
right,
back
right,
and
right.
read it, the manufacturer's like, well,
we pulled
some
Yeah,
people,
yeah, yeah.
and they actually said the grill fucking sucks, but we were thinking about it, and it doesn't, so they think it's fine. It's like, this is car manufacturers and marketing people 101. Did you read what that woman said about...
Is there?
Well,
first of all-
she agreed that it looks good on what's this? The LC.
Yeah.
She said it looks good on this, and then the other ones are kind of like forced.
They asked her, they're like, do you think it looks good? She said, I think it works better in some places. What did she say? Hold on one second here. Nancy Hubble, Lexus Communications Senior Manager, she said, I think it works in different degrees on different models, which means she fucking hates it. She thinks it looks like shit. She's tired of this question. She's a Senior Communication, or what, Lexus Communications Senior Manager. She is sick of people asking this question.
Because that's the first thing I think of when I think of a modern Lexus.
I don't hate it.
What?
That looks fine.
That
That's
one looks
the
fine,
LC.
but like, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
The,
so,
the
like,
LC500
I would completely,
or whatever, that new car they have.
Yeah.
That's a gorgeous
It's a
car.
good looking car.
Yeah.
I will completely agree with her that yeah, it looks great on this car, and I think it's forced on the other ones. So like, this is the design. Put it on these cars.
Yeah, like look at their SUV. It's terrible.
So big.
It's so big.
If you took it off, you could crawl into the engine.
And I like the big grill Audis. I loved that look.
When they did like the All Road or the RS4, that was
Yeah.
they took out that center
Yep,
beam
they took
cover,
out the center beam and
they
it was
made
just
all,
one big grill across the middle.
Yeah, Robbie, on the YouTube, you're looking for that. No, that's there. It is.
There.
That's it.
Oh, so
hold on,
bad.
hold on one second, YouTube.
I don't
folks.
know the names of the
I don't know.
of
Yeah, we're both
of any
Right.
Lexus vehicle except the
The GX460.
The GS460. This one's not as bad. The one that he's pulling up right now, because that one's kind of split. You know, so the bottom's a different
about this
color
one?
than the top. He's pulling up a different one now.
And they've refined
Like
it
that?
a touch
Yeah.
over the last
Yeah.
year or two.
It's pretty big though. Still,
It's gnarly.
When
It's bad.
Jalopnik had theirs, which was something crazy how much that thing cost, $100,000. It was awful. It looks like a design disaster.
Does that not look like a razor blade? Like
it looks like Predator.
It's very Predator.
That too,
That's
yeah.
what they compare it to as Predator. And I definitely like it on the LC, the blue.
The LC500 is a great looking car.
Yeah, and if someone
I think it's sick.
and to completely justify it, if someone goes to me, yeah, it's 50% more efficient. Perfect. It's the best grill ever.
On the LC500.
Yeah. Or no, if it's 50% more efficient, I don't care what it
Efficient
looks
in
like.
what?
Airflow.
See, I feel like that's probably increasing drag coefficient.
I think
of
it's
that vehicle.
increasing cooling
I think it's 50%
coefficient.
more efficient at taking up the front end of the car.
There's a lot of cars out there that have much smaller grill openings that cooled perfectly fine and probably have lower coefficients of drag because they're not sucking all that
Coefficients of
air into
drag.
I wonder how much of that's actually grill though.
Oh,
if
like
you got
none
in
of
there
it?
and looked at it,
None of
there's
it?
still a bumper in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that.
Oh, yeah, there it is. See, I don't like that.
Enhance.
He did. He enhanced it and it worked. I don't like that where they have there's a bumper in there and some other shit and they just put a grill over all of
Yeah,
it
they-
and then pretend like it's
They
not
fake
there.
vents.
Yeah, they could have. Yeah,
That's a
they could
hot
have-
thing no matter front, back, side.
Yeah, they could
Fake
have
vents are a thing now.
a blue, like whatever color the car is. They could have that all the way across and have two separate grills.
But that's how the old one was.
Then it would look like the Scion TC a little bit.
I think the old
my
one looked
opinion.
fine. The old like Lexus IS whatever 250 and
300.
350
The last
or whatever.
gen ones?
Yeah, I thought those looked fine.
They were much better than what they have now.
This is definitely not a deal breaker for me though. Like a lot of people are.
I don't hate. I've seen that car in person. It's pretty sick.
I love this car.
The SUV thing is a mess.
It's an abomination.
I agree.
Not that we're SUV people, so
No.
there is a degree.
It's a
of
hard
that.
sell no
But-
matter what.
Right? Yeah. So there's a degree of issue there, but still,
Everybody's on this bent though, where all their cars have to look the same because they've had way too many meetings with spreadsheets
branding.
and with graphs and shit on them, and they're like brand identification and market strategization.
then they make these stupid
and-
names like we're car people and we pay attention to this thing. And I, except for the LC500, I couldn't tell you a single name of a Lexus vehicle.
Well,
So maybe you guys should focus on
used
that
to-
marketing first.
I used to know the ISF. I think was the one I liked. I don't know Lexus names at all.
That's why Lincoln's going back to names.
I
yeah.
almost had that on here.
Yeah, it's a good move. I don't remember what the name of the new SUV is,
The
but
Nautilus.
it's a good name.
They're all like kind of like oceanographic.
Nautical.
Yeah, they're all nautical.
Nautical, bro.
Traveling or geographical or there's a kind of a theme there. So,
It's like
which is fine.
it's like VW golf.
I don't know that
Some
you
of their
can make a
CC's
theme there.
down in Passat.
Up exclamation point.
Well, some of theirs for a while were supposed to be named after like oceanic winds.
Atlas.
That was the thing.
That's
Atlas.
super lame. Just-
That's a map.
Pick something fast, like I don't know, a fucking shark or a cheetah.
Why does nobody have a car named Shark or Cheetah?
Just
Well,
yeah,
like even
it's
types
a new
of shark,
Toyota
like-
Shark.
Like
I might even
it's
buy
fast.
that.
like
Yeah.
like Mako and Hammerhead.
That's
and
right.
Well, that's
Great White.
The
Well, except
Hammerhead
they all
Eye
have to
Eagle
be
thrust.
white.
Viper. That's a pretty
Right,
awesome
yeah,
name.
no.
That is a good name.
Snakes would probably be another good one.
If I was Lexus, they should have called that the Lexus Hammerhead because people would be like, "That sounds
heck yeah.
sick. I'll have it."
Dragon? I don't know. There's got to be
The
better
Lexus,
names, right?
yeah. Fire Spitter. I don't know. The Black Widow. That's a good name for a
Ooh,
car.
I like it.
Yeah.
Name
sounds
it after spiders.
Sounds like a good
This is
topic.
the Brown Recluse. Maybe that one doesn't work,
Those
but
are-
other ones might.
Those are cars for people who don't use them very often. They're
But when you do
reclusive.
use it, it kills you. Immediately spins you into a ditch. Instantaneous death.
Goliath Bird Eater, that'll be the big cars, like a large SUV. That'll be
That's
your
what they could call
three-row.
the SUV thing because it looks like it might eat a
Right,
bird
yeah.
or small children that are
Yeah,
walking by.
there you go.
See, we fix all the marketing things that nobody calls.
That's what Lexus should do is just call it the Lexus Predator LC500.
No,
People
no,
would be all about
you
it.
wouldn't be able to go to any schools. You wouldn't be able to pick your kids up.
Not sexual predators.
Some rock kind of predator, man.
I'm just saying,
Why
it's
is
a weird name, man.
It says
should
a lot
make-
about you that you go straight to that.
should make
I
a-
think of the movie and you
They
go to
should
weird
make
places.
a Predator edition and have like active camo mode or something.
God damn it, that's a good idea.
Just make a camo
You are-
Lexus.
You're a marketing genius. Didn't
Like I
even
said,
know it.
that nobody. All we do is get emails about people's infotainment systems. We don't get shit about trying to fix some of the
I laughed so hard when I read those emails.
backfired so
Oh,
hard.
so
Yeah,
good.
For people that don't know, I'm going to Chicago Auto Show, which I should mention anyway. So that'll be a show that's coming up. But so I emailed some companies, with fingers crossed, trying to be professional about how like, oh wait, here's a podcast and some details about what we do and demographics and reach and here's our numbers and blah 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 and all this stuff. And somebody from a company I won't say invited me to come check out their new infotainment system
In the show.
in the show, which
Yeah.
I'm there on media day, which is fair.
I mean, you were trying to get a press
but
car
I
to
was
drive
trying to-
around
yeah,
Chicago,
let's-
and they invited you to come to their booth.
And look at specifically to look at their infotainment,
infotainment.
which I plan to do some hashtag real journalism out there. I want to pay specific attention to what those people think. I still want to dig into this
I'm
more.
excited about this.
There's a disconnect between the marketing people at the companies. There's not, or I shouldn't say there's a disconnect between the marketing people and the journalists, because I think that they're kind of on the same page. But there's a disconnect between what some people like about cars or appeals to them about cars and what that group of people talk
Think.
about. Yeah, because she obviously thought I was going to write an article about the new infotainment system or something. I mean, like, why would you ask me to do that? I mean, it's a
because
serious
that's what
question.
they're trying to push right now.
Yeah.
Because that's
But maybe I should take her up on it, and then.
well. So what that says to me is, I know the rest of our car is shit, but we've got this sweet new infotainment center that we're hoping people will like. Please, for the love of God, just come and talk about that. But ignore the rest of the car because it's shit.
Yeah, that's pretty desperate, though. I mean,
Well,
but yeah.
I mean, are you surprised by that?
I mean, kind of. But if she had messaged me and said they have interesting cars. This company
Yeah.
do they? Maybe not. Maybe that's the problem. Actually, no. I think I don't know that they make an interesting car at the moment. I realize it's
remember which
vague,
one
but I'm
that
trying
one
not to get in
was.
trouble
Yeah,
at the same time.
Yeah, well, and,
so I
and we want
apologize.
to talk about it
to
later. We
everybody.
don't want to give it all away.
Right. So I apologize to everybody that thinks this is super vague, but maybe that's the problem. But okay, let's say if Infinity came to me and said, "Hey, we have the new." I don't know what it is because they got stupid alphanumeric name,
Again,
but I think it's the
problem
Q50 or something. Like, hey, we got the
Yes,
G37
that's like-
replacement.
Yes, that's what it is. The Q50.
If they were like, hey, dude, we got this pretty sick. It's like 400 horsepower now. It does crazy shit, and it's got aero and stuff. Like, it's pretty cool. You want to come look at it? I'd be like, yeah, okay. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, you want to come look at our new 10-inch infotainment system?
It's because
Nah, I'm
there's
good.
no other redeeming quality to that car, and they know it.
But then the marketing people should go back to the engineers and go, no, no, wrong. You go back, you find me something interesting to sell, and then I will talk to these people about it. But this is bullshit.
That's why I thought for a while about becoming a car salesman because I think I might be okay at it.
Oh, I'm sure.
But then I realized that
No,
I really
you
hate
know,
so many
You know
things.
too much about cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's the problem.
The problem is that the infotainment center is going to sell cars to too many people. She knows that.
Right.
Because she can go in there and say, you're going to sit here 99% of your time. You're going to look at that board 90% of the time. I mean, you're not going to be looking at the road, but you're going to be looking
You're
at
not
this.
sure shit out of the
Maybe we
road.
shouldn't be looking at it so damn
That's my
much.
point. Is like, this thing has an autonomy setting, which means you'll be looking at this video screen the whole time. Look how great it is.
Yeah.
The problem is that's going to sell shit now.
Yeah.
Which is it's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah.
The only saving grace is Polaris said, come hang out at their booth.
Did
so.
you message them or did they just
No,
hit
they
us?
found me. I should hit
Okay.
them up, though, because we're, like, in the same place. I want to go
Yeah.
talk to them. Like, hey,
Yeah,
dude,
they're
we're, like,
right
not
up
that
there.
far away. Can we come hang out sometime?
Oh, that's right.
Well,
Yeah,
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 that's
those
what
are
they
made here in
say.
Iowa.
Yeah,
What are they going to say?
it's
I'm
really
not going to say no.
I would love a factory tour. That'd be cool.
I'll go talk to
They
them.
make
do
Indian there too.
Yeah.
And we love
I
Indians.
do love Indian.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good brand. Anyway, that's enough of that nonsense. Morgan is making an electric three-wheeler, but for children. Not the one that you think that we're talking about. This one is for kids. It looks the same, though.
It's super rad, and I'm sure.
I thought they were making a full size one.
Yeah, it's called...
Well, they are, but this story specifically is about essentially a Power Wheels.
Oh.
It's a very expensive Power Wheel, so
Yes,
Robbie.
and that's the problem.
It might be a $9,200 Power Wheel.
See, I go into
Is it
Toys
going
R.
to be broken down as much as the rest of the Morgans?
Well, it's
Teach-
electric,
teach-
so I don't know.
It'll teach the kids how to do mechanics work.
They're not going to know how to work on it.
So I go into Toys R Us and I look at Power Wheels and I think $350.
They're not cheap.
Money.
That's kind
For a plastic Jeep? Are you kidding me?
Money. And then Morgan comes out, all hot to
Guns
trot
blazing.
about their $9,200 Power Wheels, and I'm like, you know what?
No, I'm good.
That Porsche GT3 over there at Toys R Us isn't looking so bad.
It's carbon fiber, though. It's made out of carbon
Which
fiber.
seems like a really bad idea.
And it's also made
Seems
out of
like a really great
wood
idea.
and leather,
Well,
which
yeah,
also
it's
seems
a
like
Morgan
a
product,
bad
of course it is.
deal for children, but you never know.
I don't think I need a leather seat for my child's Power Wheels. Like, even if I was at this income level, I think I would double think that decision.
But I think you can go to Porsche and Mercedes, and they make stupid stuff like this.
Audi does.
Yeah, they do.
Audi has
Audi makes a
Audi has an
high-end one.
R8 you can go and buy from them.
High-end one, though.
I don't-
Stupid
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm
Metal.
pretty sure I remember seeing a Ferrari that
Well-
was just like this.
So of
Maybe I'm
all the companies, you'd think that the one they make would be out of control. McLaren's P1 is surprisingly reasonable. It's only like $400 or
It's
$500.
made out of plastic though. It's like
Right, yeah, but you would think
it's in the
It's a
realm of
P1.
possibility.
right, like it looks like a P1. It's being marketed to people who just bought $2 million cars that they haven't even actually seen yet. And it's only a small percentage more than what I could have bought one for at Toys R Us. And then Morgan's coming out here with this $9,000 Power Wheels.
You know what those ones are for, though? That's for, like, if somebody comes into the dealership and their son's with them that day, they make a little note. Make a little note right here. They buy a, 720 or whatever, Christmas, free. Ship that shit out to their house. That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's a salesman
Yeah, that just shows
right
up at your house because it's.
Hey,
if they're charging me $500 for it, it doesn't cost them more than
no. And if somebody drops
$200 maybe
$275,000 on a car, and they know that person's got a kid, they are for sure getting one of those.
Yeah.
It's a good old sales trick. The McLaren family would like to wish you a happy Christmas, and
I very much doubt I can actually go out and buy one.
The Morgan?
No, the McLaren. I bet you I couldn't stroll into a McLaren dealership and buy that.
You might be able to. Who knows?
Show up there with my Blazer. Just pull into just park right up front.
To be fair, they don't really need the profit from that sale, so you could be right. But anyway, this is it's an interesting exercise on behalf.
You can't even get it at JCPenney.
That's not the McLaren.
It's a P1.
I know, but that's not the official McLaren one. There is a McLaren license, like the real deal. Maybe that is the real deal.
Looks pretty real deal to me. It's got the logo on it and everything.
But you can, like he was saying, you can get that Porsche one at Toys R Us, and they've got crazier ones.
I want you to know where I am.
They've got crazier ones at the dealership. But anyway, interesting exercise on behalf of Morgan. I bet they sell all of them.
Oh,
it's cool.
It is cool, and I bet people will buy it.
Oh yeah,
I really
for sure.
Too many people.
If nothing else, like there are people that collect weird shit. I mean,
yeah, because people pay
too much money.
Tons of money for clapped out pedal cars. That's basically what this will.
Yeah,
except this one works.
Well, it works now.
Carbon fiber too.
Yeah, it works for now,
so it won't rust out.
But yeah, people do collect toys. I mean, absolutely, people are going to buy this.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can make some money doing it. We like Morgan, and we want him to stay in business. So.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, up next, Cadillac team wins the 24 Hours of Daytona and sets a new distance record.
They broke the record with hours to go.
Do you know? I mean,
because I was watching it when they were like, "Yeah, they're about to break it." And it's like,
because
2.5 hours left.
So they had 808 laps. So Cadillac number 5 specifically, 808 laps. The record was 762.
Yeah.
So they beat it by 40, more than 40.
So part of what played into this distance thing, I'm sure the cars are faster.
Yeah.
But a large percentage of it was the fact that there was only, like, I want to say there were 4 yellows.
Oh.
Yeah,
whereas like last year there were like 40 some or something silly. I mean, so there is a significantly larger time frame of that race under green.
Sure.
And that obviously is going to make a huge difference
Absolutely.
in the amount of time that you can be turning laps, and therefore it's going to make a huge difference in the distance you cover.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, but that being said, crazy.
It is pretty crazy. The really weird thing is, okay, so the lap record as it previously stood was from 1992. So a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Realistically. And then they also blew through the mileage record, which was from 1982.
That's a long
That's
time.
a long time.
Especially for
never have
cars
said.
that are much different.
Yeah, you would think that they're
Because you always-
faster, more
like-
reliable.
Yeah, that's the big thing. The
Yeah.
reliability factor. Because I'm pretty sure it was that time frame where a 15-minute gearbox change was something that a lot of those race teams did mid-race.
Oh, it was just common for people to swap gearboxes.
Like that was a scheduled event. A gearbox change. A 15-minute gearbox change. So the fact that they were able to do that back then, I would be interested to know. Like, I wonder if that was car counts maybe, or something like that. You know, like if there's just a significantly fewer number of cars on track, therefore, number one, the time under green instead of under yellow,
Right.
and number two, you have less traffic. You're less impeded. Your average lap times are going to be higher. I wonder. Having never looked into it, I wonder if that plays into it.
Or do you think maybe, we didn't look into what was going on these years, but do you think it's a fluke year where a bunch of cars were out for mechanical failure, or there was a big crash and it wiped a whole bunch of people out, and like now you just got free track where you can just go crazy?
The other thing is those were the days of the unrestricted racing. You know, those were the days of the 1,000 horsepower Can-Am cars that probably made nearly as much downforce as they do. It's realistically possible that those cars were just as fast as what we have today.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing is that the ones we have today would do it with half the power.
Right. Yeah.
So-
Yeah, that's a good point too. So anyway, and for those curious, those dates are different for the records because the course layout changed slightly. So that's how you get a different lap record from a mileage record. So
Yep.
So you actually watched it, Robbie?
I watched maybe 3 hours of it total. I kept flipping through channels and kept stopping on it on Saturday night.
Kept bouncing back and forth between FS1 and FS2, which is super annoying.
No, like it was me and Jess at home on the couch.
Right,
and
I know, but the race in general.
I kept flipping to FS1 when it was on TV, and Jess like, "Are we really gonna watch this?" Like, yeah, look at well, come on. So then I'm like, they're literally racing.
This is once a year.
For 24
It's
hours.
just one time a year.
They started at 2. They're gonna end at 2.
Give me 10 minutes here, okay? Just calm.
I was like, no, look at how lit up that one is, because like the Audi
Look
was
at all the underglow.
the Audi was covered in lights. It was like all up the pillars and under the car. That was when the Audi went out. It was when I was watching at night, and then I woke up and watched a little. Or I guess no, they didn't. I watched like the last 2 hours of it, maybe.
There's a lot of really kind of interesting things about this race. There was, in the GS class, there was an all-girl team,
Oh,
which I think is really cool. First time that's been fielded. They were in an Audi R8.
okay.
Nice.
Whose team? Do you have any idea? Who knows?
I only saw it in passing. I didn't actually read the story too closely.
Sure.
Kind of skimmed it. And I saw the story before the race, so I have no idea where they came in.
Okay.
Never really saw it and didn't think to look into it. Another thing I found was kind of interesting. Wayne Taylor Racing, a favorite to win, retired.
Yep.
But the reason they retired is because of repeated failure of the right rear tire.
Like
Okay.
yeah, like 6 times.
6 or 7 times. And so a bunch of these so this race is kind of unique because there's a bunch of American classes. There's the prototype class. There's the GTD class, which is GT cars, obviously. But there's also GTLM, which is Le Mans spec cars. Mm-hmm. Those cars are on Michelins. The GTDs and the prototypes are on Continentals. Guess which classes were the ones having right rear blowouts? Continentals. And Continental, oh no, tires are fine. It's not the tires. And Wayne Taylor Racing said, I'm not putting my drivers in danger anymore. We're done.
Wow.
And I kind of wonder if that was like
because
like a protest.
Yeah,
this is like passive aggressive protesting here.
he specifically said, we are not racing for safety concerns of our drivers. Right. That is it. There's no
Right.
he didn't even mention us like anything about the car being
Right.
like just unsafe.
Well,
We're not doing it.
they made a lot of in-race attempts at figuring out what was going on, changing
Yep.
camber settings, tire pressure settings, anything you can, but they kept blowing the same tire.
Yep. And then Continental came
Seems
out.
awfully strange.
Continental came out on Monday, I think it was, and they said that I can't remember exactly. Like 2 or 3 of them were punctures, and then the other 3 the other however many there were, like 4 or 5 left. They had those, and they were going to evaluate them to figure out what caused the failures.
I think
So
between
they're-
the prototype and GTD classes, there was something like 12 or 13 right rear failures.
Yeah, but it's crazy that Wayne Taylor had so many issues, and then the other Cadillac team went on to win and break records. So it's hard to say exactly what happened. But yeah, if you're not feeling safe enough to drive, it's kind of a big deal.
Well, and I think, because a lot of times they say, endurance racing it's almost as much about finishing as it is about winning.
Oh yeah,
And so the fact that they had a car that still ran for all intents and purposes, they didn't quit because somebody balled it up in a wall or anything like that. They quit because they decided it wasn't safe anymore. To me, he did that as a act of protest against an issue that was not caused by the team itself.
right, and protecting its investment, because the last thing you want to do is crumple your $1 million race car into the wall because of a tire failure.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they can figure it out, because the last thing you want to do is see people fight tire issues the whole freaking season.
Right.
Yeah, that about killed Formula One a couple years ago.
Yep.
Right.
So, anything else interesting from this race? I didn't watch any of it, I'll be honest.
I feel like there was something, but now I can't think of what it was. So
No, I thought it was cool. I watched a little bit. I'm not going to watch 24 hours of
I
it.
don't have a cable plan right now. So I did my best to follow it through a couple of live streams here and
Yeah.
there and social media, but
Do they not have it available online in website format?
So there's a couple of different places that do live streams from the race. Like Magnus Racing does a live stream from the race the whole time, but they're in pits.
Oh, yeah.
And they're kind of focused on their team.
Yep. I think you can pay for Fox Sports.
I think you can pay for Fox Sports. But
Okay.
you remember 2 years ago, literally the first episode we ever recorded.
Yeah.
Robbie found some
Well,
probably
there's streams of it everywhere.
right.
You
I'm
just
not
have
sure
to be
that
aware.
our stream was
Legal?
100% legal, but if you want to
you
go
can't
that
prove that
route,
it wasn't
right?
legal.
Well, you were on YouTube. I mean,
Yeah.
what are they going to do?
I don't know.
You know, somebody points their webcam at their TV and hits
Pretends to play a video game.
right. Yeah,
Put it on Twitch.
What are you going to do? You know.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's I'm sure there's places, but I had a million other things going on too. So
Yeah.
I tried my best to keep track of it.
Yeah, interesting.
But
Good race. It sounds like though. Ford GT 1-2 finish in
1-2 finish, baby.
in their category.
Then
so
yeah,
still-
didn't BMW get completely fucked out of their points or the performance balance?
I don't know. I
What happened with
haven't
that?
heard.
It's like
much about that.
it did like the polar opposite swing. Like last year, the GTs got screwed, and then this year, it's like GTs got. There's nothing they could have done wrong. It seemed, and then I think the BMWs got completely boned.
It's very possible. I don't know.
And maybe I'm completely misdoing it, but I think that's what happened.
Who else is in that class?
So there's Vets.
Yep.
There's 4 GTs.
Yep.
There's a couple of Porsches.
Yep.
Obviously,
Yep.
and then there's the BMWs.
Okay.
And I believe there's a couple of Mercedes Benzes,
Okay.
and I think there's some McLarens in there, aren't there? I didn't see much about McLarens
I don't think
this
so.
year.
I can't remember.
Maybe there's not any McLarens in IMSA.
Okay.
I'm not sure. So
That's a pretty heavy category as far
yeah,
as
there's,
Yeah,
a,
for
there's
sure.
a
Yeah.
huge variety of cars in these
Okay.
races.
Yeah.
Oh, Audi's there. There's a handful of R8s.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so,
Yeah. So
alright.
there's
So-
a lot of competition. So
The other thing I found interesting, I'm sure it's this way every year, but it seemed to really be pushed this year. There's a huge star-studded cast of guest drivers. Fernando Alonso was there.
I did see that.
Lance Stroll, he's another Formula One racer. I mean, in years past, we've had Tony Stewart's done it.
Yep.
AJ
Gordon.
Allmendinger did it this year.
Yep.
Jeff Gordon has done it. I mean,
Yeah, last year, Wayne Taylor.
it's interesting to me that those people do that. It's cool.
At that point,
So-
it's got to be a little bit more fun. I would imagine. Like for Jeff Gordon, we talked about that last year. I bet it was
Well,
more
and-
fun for him.
I mean, people say people rag on NASCAR drivers and stuff like that real hard. We have done it ourselves, but at the end of the day, those guys are racers.
Yeah.
No matter what form of motorsport they're doing, they love racing, and endurance racing is kind of that bucket list. I got to at least do this once.
Oh yeah.
So
You have the means. Why not?
yeah, that's why Lemons and Chump are so popular.
Right. Exactly.
You know, it's because even at our level, it's such a
There is something about the appeal of can you make it? Like, can you physically?
the ability to overcome all those odds
Yeah.
and find a way to do it.
Yeah. I don't know what about that is more. I mean, it's kind of stupid because it's a lot of work.
So
man.
I have almost no interest to wheel,
Yeah.
except
Lemons.
I wouldn't do it in
But why do you think that is though? Because that's going to be way
because
more
I-
miserable.
Oh,
Objectively, that's going to suck.
It's like
It absolutely is
It's
the case.
absolutely a marathon versus a 5K.
right.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't know why, but it's just there's something about it. I don't know what it is.
It's just the fact it's why they give out medals for everyone that finishes a marathon, whereas you have to place somewhere to get a medal in a 5K. I mean, it's finishing in itself is a huge accomplishment.
Does that
So I think
appeal
that's-
to you more?
What,
Lemons?
endurance?
Does lemons
Oh,
endurance
so,
race?
So as
all
you as a
racing in general.
wheel-to-wheel racer,
Fuck yeah.
so if I said this year I'm fully funding your racing effort,
Yeah.
you can either do SCCA club racing or you can do a full run of like World Endurance League, WRL. But you can't do both. You get one or the other. Which one would you choose, Robbie?
It's the endurance one for sure.
You're gonna run yourself down. You're gonna feel like shit. Shit's gonna break. People are gonna be getting on your nerves. You're probably gonna get in tiffs with people on your team because you're tired.
You'll probably cry in public.
Yeah, cry in public.
I do
'cause
that
you're
all
so
the time
fucking-
anyway. So I mean, it's not like why
Did
would
that
that
last
be,
week.
Why would that
It's a
be any
big deal.
different?
It's no different.
No, but it's maybe it's that underdog mentality. I prefer to cheer for the underdogs. Like I'd rather do the harder thing.
Well,
It's more of an accomplishment to me.
I think that endurance racing gives the underdog a better opportunity to win. Because, like, our friends at Team Clearcoat, Ian, he races with Chump with his dad in a bi-turbo Maserati,
Yep.
which, number one, seems to be a bad decision on the outside, but the car's been surprisingly reliable for them. But they are not the fastest person in their class consistently, yet they still have been podium multiple times, and their races are oftentimes won and lost in pit lane.
Yep.
And so there's more to it than just going out on track and being the fastest guy there.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. Literally anybody could win
Yep.
a Lemons race.
I could show up with $1 million effort
Yep.
and blow a motor 12 hours in and lose to somebody who built their car on $1,000 budget.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So that's
perfectly realistic for that to happen.
yes. So it does seem to even the playing field to those that are most prepared or strategize the best.
Or who flat out the luckiest.
luckiest,
Yeah,
for sure.
or the luckiest. So
I mean, it's a mixture of all of it.
Yep. I think that's a fair reason for its popularity.
Right.
And at that level, it's cheap in air quotes.
Well, and like
you know what I
everybody's
mean?
like, it's the track time. Bullshit. Shut up. If you want a
Not when
track
you're-
time, you're just going to go to
on
Sunday
that level.
fun days
Yeah.
every other weekend. If
you-
that's all you're in for is the track time.
Do you really want to race that shit box? Like if
Yeah,
they're like, hey, you can,
no.
Robbie, you can have your 240, or you can have this this Grand Am that we put together that has 80 horsepower and is going to develop a
Shit
misfire
tires
on
and-
cylinder 4 in hour 2, and you got to deal with that bullshit for the rest of the race. Okay,
Now I'm
you choose
a little bit more on the
yeah,
other
yeah,
side.
that's what I'm saying. Like nobody wants to drive that piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we
Right.
should take our Chump car out and do a track day. No, we're not doing that.
Only people who take there's two people who take Chump cars out for track days. People who are testing and Josh Fettis.
Josh Fettis is in it for the love of the neon.
Love of the game.
Love of the neon.
He's found out that front wheel Dodge life is the life.
He's all about it now.
So-
Adam's been right about this all this time. For
turns
some reason,
turns out Brock Yates is on my side with this whole thing.
he is. To be
So
fair, he
I'm
is.
sure that kind of like dropped him a notch or two for you, but just shot him up.
Hey,
Dude,
to be fair,
because I didn't know.
no, we had no idea.
I didn't
Not a
know.
single clue. No,
And I'm like in that
I know.
that world.
Do your friends know?
I don't
in the
know.
group. You should tell them. Listen to this podcast.
so
Brock
excited.
Yates Jr. Listen.
Oh, it's probably going to get shared.
Okay, well there you go.
I'm probably going to share it on
You should.
a couple of because that's super cool.
Everyone should share all our
Dude,
stuff all the time.
I'm super jazzed. You don't even know because like I was pretty excited for it. But he's like, yeah, my Shelby Dodge. Wait,
Wait.
what?
You're what now?
Back up
Excuse
a
me, sir?
second. This is the greatest thing I've ever learned about you. I was super jazzed.
And he had the Mosler?
You don't even know.
He's all
and I
about
knew
that
about the
Mosler.
Mosler.
Well, I didn't know he was
Yeah.
driving or co-pilot.
Right, and I knew about the Mosler. I
that.
didn't realize it was him in the Mosler.
Yeah.
It kinda
Both
sounded like
both
his
of
dad
them.
was like, "Hey, fuck you, kid."
Well, I think well he did the I always say the name wrong. How do you say the name?
Consulier GTP.
Say it again.
Consulier.
Consulier. Okay. So the Consulier I think was fine. I think when they went to the other iteration of it,
The V8
they put the
car, which was
LT1
like
in
an
it.
Avenger or
Yeah, that's when
Venom or something.
That's-
Raptor, maybe. I want to say it was a Consulier or a Mosler or Raptor or something like that.
So when they switched over to the I mean, let's be fair here.
The
That's a
LT1.
big difference
I
going
know.
from.
Here
I'm not.
it comes.
No. I'm not being an asshole. I'm being serious. Going from a turbo Dodge motor to a V8 that and they made like 450
Well,
horsepower.
so
or something
that's
like that. That's a big
the
difference.
thing. Like stock for stock.
Yeah.
But that motor could. See, I will still argue that the GTP with only some little changes probably could have still been the better car because you could have made that power and appears to have been semi-reliable. And I would assume that even though that's cast iron, that block still weighs less than an LT. That
I
motor
would think
package
so,
still
yeah.
weighs less.
Well, the LT's cast iron too. So.
Like, that's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
So it's still going to weigh less as a four-cylinder than as that V8. Maybe not. I mean, if you have an LS7 in there now, okay, well,
Yeah,
those are hugely different things. But those are very torquey motors.
Yep.
The Dodge motors are, even in turbo form. So I mean, I think stock for stock, absolutely, the V8's probably the better choice. But I don't think it would have taken much to make that gap up.
I don't think when because when they put that motor, the turbo Dodge motor
That was
in.
the heart of the 80s.
I think that was relatively stock, and then when they went to the LT1, I think they gave it to like Linienfelter or something first. So it's like, okay, that's not the
Let's
same.
slow down here.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's not quite,
Right.
that difference is pretty significant at that
Right.
point then. So I could kind of see why he banned it, but I do appreciate that Brock Yates Jr. said, nah, we're good. Because how long of that, by the time he got rid of that ban, what was being produced at that point that somebody could have showed up with and, dominated. So you would have been chasing your tail on, well, I'm going to ban this, I'm going to ban this, I'm going to ban, who cares?
I am mildly surprised that someone hasn't showed up with like a front and back 2-seater formula car of their own homebrew.
With a title that they got from, it's a kit
I
car or
registered as a
whatever.
kit car. Yeah, built in my garage. Registered as a kit car in the state
Yeah.
of Iowa. What are you going to do about it?
Maybe Brock Yates would have something to say to you about that.
Yeah,
When he
I
got
wonder-
the registration, you'd be like, send me
kinda
some
like-
pictures of this.
Because that was what, that was, oh, Jesus Christ, now I can't think of his name. Drag Week, that S10. Larry Larson.
Yeah.
That's what that truck was kind of built as, because there was some talk about like maybe actually putting some rules on the unlimited class because it was getting a little out of hand. We've got these 4,000 horsepower cars running 5-second quarter-mile passes, and they're literally like built-in garages. They're not real cars. They don't have VIN tags. They never were real cars. They're carbon fiber chassis, and
they hardly look like real cars
right,
now.
Yeah, they're pro mods. That's exactly what they are. And Larry Larson was one of the guys that wanted that brought back. Right, this has gotten out of hand. Let's leave the engines unlimited, but maybe like make them run real cars,
Stock pickup points or something.
Nope,
or whatever.
nope, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. No. So he was like, fine. Here's my middle finger. Check out this S10. So, I'm mildly surprised that someone hasn't done a similar move in
One lap.
One lap.
I guess we don't know for sure that
because
no
the money's
one's tried
certainly there. Well, okay, I suppose that's fair, but it hasn't been publicized, and I've been following One Lap for 5 years, semi-closely.
Yep.
So
call him back. Ask him. He got his phone number. He said
said
call
call him
anytime.
anytime.
Call him and ask him.
hey, random question still
Hey, real
recording.
quick, we're still going here. I know you're getting ready for bed, but real quick question for you. So, anyway, I think that's it.
That's all I got.
Daytona was a good race. What else? So I'm going to be at Chicago. If anybody wants to see anything specific, not related to infotainment or cup holders or anything else to do with that boring normal marketing crap, let me know. I'll do some video or some pictures or whatever. We'll do the normal media coverage, but it is going with Team CornFed, doing the normal
blowout.
Our suite, which by the way, the Wednesday the Wednesday before Chicago Auto Show is a great time to get a hotel because nobody's staying in Chicago because there's no event going on there. So you can have about any hotel room you want, and they're all really cheap. We have an 1,800 square foot suite.
Oh,
and it was
grief!
it was the cost of like a normal hotel room.
That's 600 square feet bigger than my house.
I know, it's gonna be crazy. I looked at Bill sent me the thing. I was like, does that say 1,800 square feet? That's not right, is it? He's like, it's what it says. I don't know. It was a picture of a kitchen, like a real kitchen. I was like, what is this? What is this shit? So anyway, that'll be an interesting experience. Because I bet that would be probably like $1,000 a night hotel room
sure.
on like
on a Saturday or a Friday night?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Like when there's a home game for the Bulls.
Oh,
or the,
$2
or the Cubs.
grand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
$2,000, no doubt. So anyway, it's a good time.
Is it on the top floor? It's like
I don't know, man. It's gonna be a whole deal when I
he
get
needs
there.
a special card just to get access
got-
to the level.
You got like a 9-minute elevator ride just to get to your.
You have to,
hotel suite.
you have to talk to the valet, and he has to take you to the floor. Secret key codes and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. Keep you separated from the riffraff, right, Robbie?
Oh, you gotta stay away from the riffraff.
That's what I'm saying. Go to the website, check it out, 10tenspodcast.com. Check out our store. We've got the it's not called the golf shirt.
It's a parody shirt.
The parody shirt because we don't want to get sued. And then we've got some other things there as well. Tanks because it's coming up into being that season. I know.
Sun's
you
out,
guys,
guns out.
You guys don't believe me, but I have seen I think at least 3 race schedules come out.
Yeah, they're
So
coming.
it is coming.
It's awesome.
Better get your car finished.
Still really disappointed in the lack of beanie sale, people.
I know we're getting out of that season.
I know, but I thought
I know.
it'd be a hot
I was
item.
super pumped about it. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna go over like crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like,
Sold
come
a
on,
couple
guys.
of them.
What's going on, people?
Phew.
They can redeem themselves by getting a tank or a T-shirt.
Yeah, that's
both.
fine. Yeah,
or both.
Or all three.
Get them all.
So anyway, 10tenspodcast.com. Go to the store. I think that's it. Follow us on Facebook. Go to the
YouTube.
group. Check out that. YouTube, definitely for sure. Make sure
Robbie's
you
put
subscribe.
out a few extra videos this week. So
Yeah, we do need to talk about that.
some
Actually,
fresh content.
We're keeping the video content rolling. So Robbie's been
Hold on,
posting
screwed
some
this up.
stuff about. Robbie's been posting some stuff about the 240. There's a few things on there about the RX-7. You know, the vinyl. Robbie talks about the vinyl, which is actually really cool. You should watch the video because he has. Oh, that's a picture of Brock Yates. He talks about the. He's got a heat gun and he shows how that vinyl just doesn't really mold very well.
Yeah.
And how it would compare to expensive vinyl.
Yeah, I should have went and talked to Zion and got like just a scrap piece of
good
decent,
vinyl.
Avery, and been like, see, this is it, and like stretch it all out. I'm like, this is great. I should have bought this.
So, anyway,
Dare I say, real journalism.
it is real.
That's
journalism.
hashtag real journalism.
It's
That's
just
some consumer.
He's got a
value.
whole clickbaity YouTube thing with the thumbnail and the whole thing.
That's the thing. 'Cause to me, Chinese vinyl is one of those things where everyone's like, yeah, don't buy it. Well, why not? Well, you just don't.
It's just Chinese.
It's cheap.
Don't buy
It's
anything
crap.
from China.
But no one has any idea how it actually performs. Like, very few people will give me a legitimate answer. It was, okay, why can't I have it? It looks really good. Well, watch the video and find out why you maybe don't want it.
And tune in this fall and see how it.
Save it lasts.
yeah, see how it
went.
holds up to track days and being outside and stuff.
Robbie's putting up his own money for you guys
Yeah,
to know these things.
I wanted to learn how to do it, so I did it the cheapest way. And if it sucks, we'll find out.
What was the other video you did?
It's not available yet.
Yeah, but it'll be available when this comes out.
No, it won't.
When's it coming out? Next
The
week?
following Wednesday.
Oh,
Staggered.
you're not doing
No,
two
it's-
this week.
no.
Oh,
I refuse to do two of myself in the same week.
Oh, okay.
So if
He's
you
not full of himself.
yeah, I
appreciate
stagger myself.
Okay. Well, it's a great reason to subscribe because they will get that video when it comes out as well.
That's right.
I think that's it.
It's foreshadowing.
We'll have more videos.
Pay attention on Wednesday.
Catch you guys next week.